you talk about this thing called the word form area.
Right.
And I think it's one of the things that's unique to your program. I don't think very many reading programs talk about how a kid with dyslexia becomes fluent, or how a kid with dyslexia picks up what are frequently called sight words, which are, you know, the memorization of words, which actually isn't what we know now is neurologically happening. Can you talk about that a little bit though?
Sure. You have an area, a gyri called the fusiform gyri, which is behind the ear. Okay. And it's a visual component that correlates with the auditory components of the brain. And the auditory components stimulate it. So when you are dealing with sounds, you start with Broca, and when you're dealing with the language or vocabulary, that you're kind of knocking up, you're connecting to Wernicke's area, and these two work together. As they work together, they send messages to fusiform gyrus, or the word form area. And after a period of time, it starts to fire. Shaywitz noted that with many kids, it was the last 3 or 4 months of first grade. And these were kids who didn't have reading problems. These are regular kids. And once it fires, you're in the game, because you're now, when you read a word once to 4 times, some thought it was 4. It seems to be going lower because of how many vocab words kids are getting now. So let's say after a couple times, you're remembering the word for reading and spelling. What a gift. Okay. But meanwhile, our kids who are struggling with hearing the sounds and words and connecting with the language area, they're having trouble. They're not firing this word form area. And so they're not picking up these spelling words. And working a lot of sight words is not the answer for that. You got to work a lot of this processing to fire that word form area. Once that fires, they then take off. And with some kids, you know, they may not fire it. So they'll read, but they'll be slow and methodical. So they may read 80 words a minute and be really detailed and good readers, but they just won't be real fluent. They'll pick up some sight words over a period of time. There's a lot of adults I know like this, pick up some sight words, but they just haven't really innervated. The word form area is not really firing. Shaywitz did find, if you do intense work in a phonics program, that it does fire. And she was looking at classes over a year. We're doing one-to-one tutoring, so I believe it can. I've seen it happen in a faster basis. So to me, one of the things I get across is make sure you're doing the program, make sure you're doing the syllable work, the processing and all that, because we want to try to fire that word form area.